be turned into exhibition skiers overnight. Flashes from the Mediterranean front. Men wounded in Tunisia are seen at Tripoli on their way back to Alexandria, and we sincerely hope to complete recovery. There are some enemy wounded among them, but mostly they're men from the United Kingdom and from the overseas empire. During their passage by lighter to the hospital ship, they were entertained by bandsmen of the New Zealand Expeditionary Force. The journey to Alex from Tripoli was made in the hospital ship May, a voyage of round about 1,000 miles. These men, who have played a full part in the defeat of Hitler's crack troops, are carried back to hospital while their comrades complete the task of driving the Boche into the sea. Ask any one of our men on the Mediterranean front, whether wounded or not, what's the biggest thing in his life, and the answer is letters from home. With the best will in the world, we at home may sometimes put off writing because there's nothing much to say or for one reason or another, but if we do, it means that he is left out of it when the mail's being distributed. A few lines, no matter how dull they may seem to us, make all the difference between getting fresh news from home or having to dig out some old letter to read again. Here's an arresting scene at an advanced RAF station somewhere in Tunisia. No doubt about it, the boys don't exceed the 5-inch mark when they have a bath. Incidentally, a stork had rather thoughtlessly chosen to nest on top of the windmill here, so that meant the boys had to haul the water up by hand. No, the stork is not always welcome. Interval for dancing. The RAF teaches an Arab the Bumps a Daisy. In return, the Arab gives a graceful demonstration of his own. Booty, captured by the 4th Indian Division, which greatly distinguished itself at the Battle of Wadi Akarit. Small arms and ammunition by the ton were taken, not to mention mortars and guns of all calibers. Commentators have often extolled Rommel's skill in withdrawing his forces, and lately he's had many chances to display it. But he's also been losing very heavily in men and material all the way. And that's something Germany can ill afford with her present manpower resources in fighting men and munition workers stretched to the limit. Churchill tanks in the Medjez el-Bab sector. The Churchills, like their namesake, have proved themselves more than a match for Germany's formidable war machine. They've done great work in Tunisia, where apart from clashes with the enemy's armor, they've been fighting as mobile artillery with a very hard punch. American Bostons on the attack. These bombers are another highly successful weapon in the hands of the Allies, and both RAF and United States crews have been making the best possible use of our air superiority on the Mediterranean front. This particular raid was directed against troops and motor transport drivers taking cover in the orchards some distance from the road. Their vehicles, abandoned on the road, were shot up afterwards. Our own superiority in the air naturally doesn't mean that the Hun fails to do any bombing at all. Those are Me-109s putting in a sharp raid on our forward positions. This was in the Medjez el-Bab sector too. But the Allies being definitely on top, the Boche once more paid a stiff price and failed to hold up the Allied advance. More captured